The scales of justice.
Yeah, what is that? What's
yes, we are going through, and in our team meetings, we have 25 opportunities that we have to prepare for Ohio State game number 1. And so on one scale, you have all their opportunities, and we're assuming that they're going to maximize all theirs. So we're giving them all theirs. So every single day, based on how we practice and how we prepared that day, we get to add to our side of the scale. So obviously we're trying to deposit into that side, just a visual way to show them that it's a daily process of continuing to get where we want to be. So we tip those scales in our favor by the 31st.
Okay. Where did that idea come from?
Just reading good books. So I get a lot of my ideas from.
Your thoughts on college game day coming to town for the Ohio State game?
You know, it just I tweeted out last night. You know, it's already the biggest home opener that we've had because we knew they were going to be ranked high. They're preseason, I think, number 2 now in yesterday's poll and number 1 in the previous poll. So they're going to be 1 or 2, on to start the season. So to play a conference opponent that's ranked that high, it's never happened before. So now then you add in college game day coming, it just makes it a little bit bigger, and more exciting. We played that yesterday for our guys in our team meeting, and so obviously it's just the next big game here. We played in a lot of those the last few years for sure. Our guys all have, but to have that kind of environment, I've coached for 25 years. It's happened one time. For me. So, it's just a unique situation that Bloomington hasn't had that experience here. So it's pretty special. So our kids are excited for sure.
How'd you let the team know? How'd you inform them that game day was coming?
Well, it kind of got slipped out, not by myself, but by somebody else. And so I don't think it was said kind of quick, and they were like, a couple guys were like, did he just say what I thought he just said? And so they really weren't sure, so we made a big deal about it last night. So we had a big thing on the video screen, so we had some fun with it. But it's just, it just makes it a little more exciting.
You mentioned obviously on Media Day about Niles Sykes.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's early, but in your mind, what guys do you kind of need to see kind of step up and kind of cover that slack that you're going to lose with him out?
Yeah, McCray's got to be a big one, and I just feel like that he will, and the opportunities there. Alan Stallings is another one. Those 2 guys to me jump out to be Gooch, just continue to be a dominant player in the pass rush game. And so anytime you lose a guy that gives you numbers, you got to be able to replace that. So tough loss for us. I feel terrible for him. He was really he was having the best summer he's ever had and working extremely hard. So, but it's part of it, and that's what sometimes life's not fair, and that's what you got to learn to deal with.
When you watch the presence of Mike DeBoer out there, what are your thoughts as he's building this type of offense?
He's just confident. He doesn't get rattled. He knows what he wants, and he just systematically gets it. And when you have those kind of experienced eyes like he has, you don't get too excited about, when things go good earlier. You don't get too frustrated when they don't, go the way you want. So I think it's a calming effect for everybody, which is good because I'm pretty excitable. So we make a good compliment to one another.
How would you evaluate your first 3 days of practice?
I didn't really like today in terms of just overall, and honestly, I think it was even some structural things, like we had this scripted to be lined up here and somebody didn't follow that on the script. So those things kind of irritate me. I'm kind of I want things done, bam, 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 bam. So, but as far as on the field part, I thought it was really good. Offense was making plays, and we're doing some new things on defense we're working on, so that's always going to give some stuff up. But I thought that it was our best offensive day for sure. I thought yesterday was our best defensive day. But that's what you want. I mean, you're going against each other, so it's going to be a give and take. So you really can't. I never walked off the field and think, man, both sides had a great day. So I think that when you're still working on your own things against each other, like a spring ball mentality, which you do early in camp, you got to feel good about the fact that it's back and forth for sure. But the effort's been great. The kids are working hard. I loved just the mindset that they have. The meetings at night, there's tremendous lock-in from their eyes and tremendous buy-in, and those things matter a lot to me, and I'm seeing a lot of that right now.
You said last season you never really knew a good defense that didn't have good linebackers. T-grades, numbers and accolades speak for themselves, but you talk about Chris Covington on Tuesday. Just how much has he embraced that spot at middle linebacker, or maybe how far does he still have to go?
Well, from a leadership perspective, he had a great summer, and that to me was step number 1, to be able to show that his teammates show himself, show his staff that he's a guy that can be counted on to lead. You know, and he's not stayed healthy in the past, and so that's kind of been a big thing of being able to get his body right and living right off the field, doing all the little things that you have to do to be able to stay healthy throughout the season. And then, you know, obviously sometimes things just happen, but at the same time, he made plays last year, you know, for us, and I thought he did a nice job when he played, and so it just has to be consistent. So to me, it's, okay, good preparation over the summer. Now let's do it every single day, and to be that leader in the middle. You know, Damian Willis is another guy that's got to step up, and he has at this point, but it's got to continue. You know, and so I just feel like that you need that one guy there to kind of own that position, and that's why I put the challenge out for Chris, and I think he's responded really well.
What do you think about some of your younger quarterbacks who are battling for that number 2 spot?
Yeah, you know, I mean, Peyton, the more we do live things, he always seems to kind of elevate just because he has the ability to step up in the pocket and make you pay for not accounting for him. So doing a good job. You know, obviously Nick's, you know, spinning right now. I mean, it's the first time for all this stuff. He wasn't here in the spring. You know, he's a gym rat. He's always in here studying extra, but still, it takes time for sure, you know. So, but his attention to detail and his you know, study habits are impressive, you know. So, but I think both those guys have done a really good job, and they just got to continue to develop.
Same kind of question, the size question, but Brandon Knight, you know, in terms of the offensive line, I know you're looking at Delroy there, but who all do you need to see surface there for you?
Well, you know, obviously, you know, Delroy is a big one. You know, I think Harry Kreider's another one that is really. And I kind of thought, you know, all spring long when he wasn't here, just knowing him as a person, knowing his talent, it would surprise me if he's not right there, you know, helping this team in a big way on the O-line. So, and he's done nothing but reaffirm that in these first few days, you know. So, just a big guy that's athletic. You know, anytime you play offensive line, you play baseball. You know, that's a pretty good. That's, you know, Coy Cron, same way. I'm just telling you, those multi-sport guys in those positions is just a pretty good sign that the guys, the kind of athletes you're looking for, you know, and he falls in that line.
It's interesting to me that you got Caleb Jones at left tackle, which tells me that even at that size, you think he can move that.
His feet are, I mean, he's huge now. I mean, he's a really, really big guy. When I stand next to him, I just feel like such a small person. And but very good feet, you know. And obviously, he's got to develop and get stronger. But he's a name that our staff was like very impressed with, you know, early on, and still is going to get a whole lot stronger and a whole lot more developed. But yeah, I mean, we feel like that he's a guy that can play that spot, which is not what I would have expected in the beginning, you know. So hats off to him and him just working hard, you know. So, and another guy, I tell you what, our freshman class is full of really good kids that have high character, have good talent. Some of them have great talent, but even the ones that have good talent, they're going to be really good players because that's what you win with. We win with guys because they're going to do all the things right off the field, all things right in the weight room. Their development's going to be, you know, escalated because of all those factors, and that's really, you win with guys like that. So I really love that class.
Kind of a left turn, but in Simi's situation off the field, do you anticipate any kind of further fallout from that disciplinarily or anything like that?
I really don't know. I know that we are still gathering information, and until we get all the facts, then we won't. Then we'll make something concrete. But right now, I don't know.
Coach DeBoer was kind of talking about red zone offense, and just from your view, from a defensive perspective, what makes an offense tough in the red zone? What are some of the things you want to see this offense able to do in the red zone?
You know, first of all, the perimeter jump balls. You know, and we got a lot of those guys. You know, and that's to me, that's just kind of a, you know, physical issue that you sometimes don't have an answer for. You know, so if you try and take that away, it weakens you up, you know, in other spots. And so, you know, the ability for, if the offense can have, you know, maybe one you can kind of handle, you got two, then you got a third guy that stresses you there, which Ian does that to a lot of people. It creates a lot of problems for a defense. And so, you know, you got to decide, do you pressure, do you cover, do you a little bit of both? And so I know we got the pieces in place to put pressure on defenses as an offense, which excites me, frustrates me as a defensive guy during practice. But that's good. It's good for us. And so, and then obviously at the same time, you know, run that football. And that's one thing, you know, I think teams that can get down in there and mix it up, just like anything else. I mean, you know, we got to be able to keep them on their heels. And I think we have the skill set of guys to do that.
mentioning Ian, tight end, at least through the air, wasn't really a big impact position last season on the offense. He's a guy that Coach DeBoer talked about that Rich keeps seeming to want to bring up. What can he bring at that position this year?
I mean, he's anytime you're in a position where a guy of his size, I mean, he weighs 250, with his size and speed is matched up on linebackers and safeties, that's a tough deal for the D. And that's kind of what he gives you, you know. And a lot of times tight ends can become a really strong safety net for the quarterbacks because they're big catch radius, big strong guys, dependable hands like Ian does, athletic. And so they kind of find themselves looking to him, you know. And so I feel like that's – and when you got the guys around him too, they can't help but it's going to be one-on-one, you know, if they're going to play man, and they're not going to be able to get him any help. And then in the run game, you know, those guys are in run-pass conflict. So to me, as a defensive coach, those guys make me real nervous because if a team has – first thing I look at is their tight ends and how athletic they are and their ability to stretch the field and be a threat in the pass game, but then also be physical enough to hurt you in the run game. And that's the kind of qualities that he gives us. And so I can see why Coach DeBoer likes him, and I can see why Rich likes him. And so that's we're excited about him and his development for sure.
I know it's early, but you mentioned some specific names in regard to some of the freshmen you like on offense. How about on the defensive side? Anybody surfaced already there to kind of catch your eye?
Yeah, you know, Juan Harris, you know, is a guy that's changed his body. You know, man, he's just hats off to him and how hard he's worked, and that's hard to do, you know. But he's bought into what we've asked him, and I mean, he's a very powerful, you know, kid, and learning to play hard and getting himself in shape to play more snaps. And so he's hard to move now, you know. He's a big old boy, you know. So, but and for some of the things that we're asking him to do, he's a perfect fit for that, you know. So he's a guy that for sure really like. You know, Brian Fitzgerald's another one that is just different, you know. And I knew he was a really special player. I told people last year I thought he was the best player in the state, you know, just in terms of all offense, defense, special teams. I mean, the guy could play a lot of positions, you know. He could return kicks and punts, you know, and so really, and we need that depth there with him for sure, you know. You know, Day, as we call him, LaDamian Hunt, you know, he's a corner that has caught my eye, you know, and a big part of it is his attitude. You know, he's a big, good-looking kid as a corner, but just so eager to do all the little things you ask him to do, and really excited about him. And those guys, if you know, Juwan Burgess is another one. Those guys stick out to me, and you see them on the field. They got something to them, you know, which is, and there's several others, but I feel like that, you know, it's once again that's a very broad class that covers a lot of positions, and I think it's a class we're going to be, you know, talking about for a while. Very, very strong foundational class for us.
In terms of an optimum playing weight, what would you like Harris to be at?
You know, we gave him the goal of being at between 350 and 360, you know, which is a lot, you know, but we never really said what it came in as. So I'll just say this, he's lost a lot of weight already. So I'll leave it at that.
I know you've never really seen him at 100%, but how nice to see Shoshana out there. I mean, it looks like he's got that step back, and
he does. It's great because, like I said, I never had the privilege of that. So another one he does so many things you ask him, and you're so excited for him to be able to get back out there. And I know it's been a hard road for him to get back, but we need his explosiveness in the return game. We need it in at that slot position. Just be able to make guys miss, and do all those kind of things. So he'll obviously keep developing and keep getting stronger and better as the fall.
Did you see that deflected catch he had today?
I did.
I mean,
yeah.
He makes plays like that.
He does, and he just kind of, sometimes guys have that knack. He's, once again, when he's so coachable. He does what he's supposed to do. He's where he's supposed to be, and he's got talent. You can't coach those quicks.